For your linear review today, you're going to be going through a multitude of problems. On the first page, it tells you to use your spiral notes from Unit 4, page 26-27. All you're doing on this problem is finding the rise over the run. So you are literally just going to connect your points, count your rise, put it over your run. Remember, if you count up, it's positive, to the right, it's positive, down, it's negative, and to the left, it's negative. Okay, down at the bottom, you have to find slope from 2 points. And I put here on the right an example. If you have 2 points, you stack them on top of each other. We subtract bottom to top, bottom to top. We always put the y on top. Okay, so you put the rise over the run, and that would be your slope. So stack your points here, bring them over, and then subtract bottom to top. On the next page, you're finding the slope of each line. Up at the top, make sure it's solved for y, and remember that we have y equals mx plus b. That is your slope-intercept form. M is your slope, b is your y-intercept. So whatever number is in front of x, that is going to be your slope. So the first thing you're going to have to do on number 9 is solve. You're going to actually have to solve for y. Now down here you've got graphs. The next problem is on 10, 11, and 12, or 10 and 11. We're not going to do this one right here. All you're doing is writing these in slope-intercept form. So you've got to find your m by, connecting your 2 points, or finding 2 points and count your rise over your run. Then you find your b because it's your starting point on the y-axis. Same thing here. Your b is your starting point. Find 2 points, count rise over run. Once you have your m and your b, you just place it inside of y equals mx plus b. Now these are typically the harder problems. It's where you're given a point and the slope. Remember how we label our m, b, x, and y. Your m is your slope. Your x and your y come from the point that was given to you. And so you would label those here. Your m would be -1. Your x would be 1. Your y would be 3. And then we find our b, which is our unknown, by plugging it into y equals mx plus b. So we plug our y in for the y, plug in our x for the x, and our m for the m, and that way we can solve for b. The next page we are doing graphing linear inequalities. So again, you just graph based on what m is and what b is, but you use a dotted line if your alligator sign does not have a line underneath, and you use a solid line if it does have a line underneath. Hope you remember that. And then we choose on which side we shade based on our alligator as well. If it's greater than, we'd shade above. If it's less than, then we'd shade below. The next page, we are learning how to solve for x. And so if you remember, you're going to have to draw your line down. You're solving for x. So the first thing you're going to have to do is get rid of the parentheses by distributing both the 2 to both of the other terms. And then you combine like terms on the same side of the equal sign, and then we can solve for x. Anything else that you need on this will be on page 12 of your notes from the first semester. But the next problem is the exact same. Make sure you get rid of the parentheses first, then you combine your like terms, and then you can solve for x. And it's the same down through 20. The last 2 pages are just talking about parameter changes. Parameter changes, the bigger your m gets, the steeper the line gets, the closer it is to 0, the flatter it is. And then obviously the b is changing your starting point on the y-axis. So your b tells you where it is on the y-axis, your m tells you how steep it is. And then on the very last question is actually a systems question. And remember, for systems, we're looking for where the intersection takes place. So the intersection. So if anytime you have y equals, what we would do is plug these into your calculator. Right here, plug those into your calculator under y equals, and then graph it.